is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. The race cars, lasers, aeroplanes. It's a duck blur. Might solve the mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales. Ooh. Every day they're out there making DuckTales. Ooh. Tales of daring, do bad and good luck tales. Danger, watch behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. What to do? Just grab onto some DuckTales. Woo! Every day they're out there making DuckTales. Woo! Tales of daring, do bad and good luck tales. Woo! Not ponytails or cottontails, no DuckTales. Woo!
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned.
If it's Saturday, UFC 329 is upon us, and you've stumbled in to the pregame. What would a pregame be without a little pregame?
Yep. Got about
Cheers.
a few seconds. Yep, go ahead. Oh, it's going to be a good one today, boys. Got a little bit of 90U going in. Oh, cheers.
There we go. What is a pregame without a little pregaming?
Damn straight, brother man.
So, with that being said, we have officially reached the point. We are T minus 47 minutes until UFC 329. And we got a little bit to talk about here. We say it all the time, but I don't know if it really is as exemplified as it has been this week. You can't look at MMA fights on paper. There's a reason that people say MMA math doesn't work, and it's because MMA fights on paper almost never work out the way that they are in real life when you climb into that cage. And a big part of that is the weight cut. If you looked at this fight on paper, you would think, man, everything is good to go. Everybody made weight. We are ready to get a fucking series of big-ass fights going. But holy shit, was there a very different story of UFC 329 told on the fucking scales yesterday.
The amount of men and women that had that not even 40-yard stare, 300-yard stare into the and it was ridiculous, bro. Shells of people standing on the scale.
There were several folks who stepped onto the scale. And like I said, everybody made weight, so there is that. But it's not only just making weight. Sometimes it's how close you came to dying when you made that weight. And there were several people who were absolutely sucked the fuck in, cheekbones unnaturally fucking highlighted from how dehydrated they had themselves.
Legitimate Fallout series extras.
Yeah, there was some rough ones, but there is one asshole that I do want to give a fucking mention to before we get into actually talking about these fights real quick here, because we're gonna run down all of them for the most part. We did go over most of them on the show Thursday, but there are a couple that do deserve mentioning, especially after yesterday's fucking weigh-ins. First and foremost, though, I've said it many times before, but I reiterate my previous statement. Fuck Fareed Basharat. like I said, everyone made weight, but sometimes it's not only how you make weight, but the rare and almost more important, when you make weight. Because we watched the weigh-ins live yesterday, the ceremonial weigh-ins. We were looking for shit, I would say almost an hour and a half before the ceremonial weigh-ins started
Yeah.
for the complete version of the UFC weigh-ins, because once those closed out, everybody chopped their own broadcast up to make all the fucking highlights and all that shit. So it was a little tricky finding the actual full actual weigh-ins from the morning, but we did find them. And when we found them, what we learned after finally getting the whole thing was that Fareed Basharat waited until there were 6 minutes left in the weigh-in period to come in and step on the scale. Mind you, he's the third fight on the fucking card, and his opponent, and for the vast majority, everyone else on the card, showed up in their fight order. Both red and blue fucking corners showed up, made fucking weight, and then went on their goddamn way. Like, it started with
It,
Cody Durden, and Alessandro Costa came right fucking behind him. Like, they started out in that order until we got to John Garza, his opponent, who showed up right in their slot, made weight like a fucking pro, and then they just skipped right over Fareed and it went right into Damian Penis, and then Cesar Almeida, and then Cortez, and fucking like they followed for the most part the fight order, with the exception of one fucking person, and that was Mr. Bashrat, who showed up looking absolutely fucking gaunt at the very last minute, made weight, and then didn't even give them their full 5 seconds on the scale that the photographers asked the fighters to do. Literally made weight and went, and then walked the fuck off.
so I've got two things. The way it was explained to me yesterday on what he was possibly trying to do to Perez, I believe it is his
Garza.
guy, yeah, Garza.
Garza's his guy.
Not only did Garza show up on time, on weight, ready to go, but he's a short notice fighter from a different fucking organization making his debut.
Yep.
You're going to try to fuck a guy over because you don't want to get off your ass and cut weight like you're supposed to. You want to try to fuck this new guy over who, for all we know, could be the next fucking world champion.
Could be the next
Could be
big
the
thing
next.
for sure.
Yeah. And you're trying to fuck him over because you want to be lazy. You were that new guy at one point in time.
Yeah. There's a reason why we say it's not always about who's your favorite fighter, because sometimes even your favorite fighter is a piece of shit. I personally cannot root for a guy knowing this is his job and how this operates, acting like an asshole. I don't like Fareed Basharat for a number of reasons, but one of the fucking large ones is the way that he weight bullies. This, in my opinion, was a perfect example of him waiting to see if his opponent actually was going to make weight, and then once he saw his opponent make weight, to make his opponent wonder if their fight was going to get canceled. Because he literally, what did we say, was 23 minutes or something like that from the time, like, they had everyone else on this card in fucking order, rapid fire, weighed in like 25 fucking minutes, and then they literally spent like the next 25 or 30 minutes standing around bullshitting because they all had to wait for Bashrat to come in and fucking weigh in, because everyone else on the card showed up, made weight, and then went back to go do their thing like most professionals would. But no, Bashrat had to be an asshole, had to come in at the very last fucking minute, barely making fucking weight, looking like shit while he did it. So
Guarantee
not
you he
always-
was sitting in that sauna with a scale.
yeah, no, it's not always that you made weight. This is one of the reasons that I tell people that you can't just look at the fights on paper and say, oh, well, that guy's going to win because he's got a better record, or that guy's going to win because he made weight and he's never missed weight before. Like, it's not always just that you made weight. Sometimes it really is when you made weight. So fuck Basharat on top of everything else.
To anybody that would doubt anything that comes out of Meter's mouth, when he told me I started doing, the Tapology. He told me, "Hey, just wait to make your picks. We're gonna watch the weigh-ins. I want to show you something." And when we started watching weigh-ins, fights that I thought were gonna go this way went this way because the guy that showed up at weigh-ins was not the guy I thought was coming to the fight. When he says that you gotta look more beneath the surface than just the surface, he's not fucking kidding.
We had a couple people surprises very big watching the fucking weigh-ins yesterday. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
Jumping right into it. I am not shy about the fact that I do not like Cody Durden. Fuck that guy 3 ways from Sunday. I couldn't give two fucks about him 99.9% of the time. But the moment that they opened the fucking weigh-ins yesterday, the first man in fucking line standing there ready to do his fucking job was Cody Durden. And he walked up the moment they opened those fucking scales. He made weight. He gave the photographers his 5 seconds, and then he went back to do his thing like every fucking professional fighter is supposed to do. So I will absolutely tip my fucking cap to Cody Durden on that. I still think he's getting his ass kicked, but that man showed up like a fucking professional to a short notice fight on weight, the first man on the fucking scale. So I will absolutely, I say it all the time and I will continue to say it. Credit where credit is due, regardless of how you feel about the person. I don't like that motherfucker and I'm not shy about it, but I will absolutely tip my cap, especially for this fucking card, to Cody Durden showing up first, being ready, being on weight, acting like a fucking pro, and then going back to do his goddamn business in the fucking hotel like they're supposed to do. Costa was literally right fucking behind him. They were the first two people in line waiting to fucking weigh in like you're fucking supposed to. Costa as well. Short notice fight. Showed up ready to fucking go before the scales were open, standing directly behind Cody Durden, walked on that fucking stage on what was it, 5 days notice, 6 days notice, I think, something like that.
Yep.
It was less than a week, I believe. Showed up on weight, ready to fucking go. Professional, shook fucking hands with Cody. I think there's a potential this could be a very interesting fight. I still think Cody's getting his ass kicked, but both of these men showed up ready to fucking go on weight for a short notice fight to open one of the biggest cards for the UFC of the year.
And they both looked good on the
They
scale.
both looked fucking proper. Neither one of them were sucked out. Neither one of them were fucking gaunt. They both looked like they had a good fucking weight cut. Both of them were ready to give a fucking show.
It could be a 3-round ass whooping, or it could be a car crash.
There's a very good possibility we could be watching a car crash to open this fucking card in a little while. So I'm here for it. That's why I said tip of my cap to fucking both of those gentlemen. Short notice fights are always fucking short notice for both people involved, and both of these gentlemen showed up on short notice, ready to fucking go, here to give a fucking show. I'm here for that shit.
Very much so.
Excuse me. Ryan Gondra and Zach Reese. I got nothing against Zach Reese. I just don't really understand him. For a dude named the Savage, he showed up to the weigh-ins yesterday with a cowboy hat making fucking Toy Story pistol shot motions. And I was very confused by that. I know that he's got some real good training partners. I know that he helped try and get fucking Juice ready for Baku, as bad as that went. But for a dude who's supposed to walk around pretty close to middleweight and talks about not having to cut a whole lot, man, he looked like a fucking skeleton when he stepped on the fucking scale yesterday. You could see his fucking cheekbones. You could see how sucked in his eyes were. I'm not going to say it was a bad cut, but it definitely didn't go as smooth as it could have. Because Ryan Gondra stepped on the scale and looked absolutely fucking normal on that scale at 185 fucking pounds. I like Zach Reese. I got nothing against him, but it gives you the impression that Ryan Gondra is taking this fight a little more seriously than Zach Reese is. And Zach Reese, like I said, I got nothing against him, but he's not in the best position in the UFC right now, and he absolutely could potentially be fighting for his job. So Gondra could come in here and not only steal a bit of thunder, but steal Reese's spot on the fucking roster this weekend as well. So,
well, if my notes are right, there's a good chance that Gondra's going to come in here and lay the thunder down. because his 9-1 record, he's an aggressive striker, 5 KOs. His debut was a 41-second knockout.
Yeah, he's got some fucking hands, and he doesn't seem to like to wait to use them. From what we were looking at his
Right.
resume yesterday.
So if Reese can weather the storm, do you think Gondra would blow his wad in the first round?
Normally, I would say it's a real possibility, but being as how Gondra is still pretty new, and Reese is supposed to be the not necessarily veteran, but the more journeyman fighter with more experience in this situation, I would assume that Reese is planning for that, and that since this is not on short notice, this is one that they both had a full camp for.
Right.
I would assume Gondry would be ready to go a full hard 3 rounds, especially on this of all fucking cards. The most of the fighters on this cards when they got interviewed in the last couple of days understand the significance of this card and how many eyes are on this card. If you watch the ceremonial weigh-ins
Fucking
yesterday,
weigh-ins.
there were genuinely more people at the ceremonial weigh-ins yesterday than there have been at some pay-per-view events. Like, that fucking crowd was insane. There were so fucking many people just to see the ceremonial weigh-ins yesterday. Like,
There
this
were more
card is
people at
going
the
to be watched.
there were more people at the weigh-ins than there were at most fight events or fight nights that are fully packed.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, the fucking crowd was crazy. I bet they had 15, 20,000 people in there. Like,
Yeah.
no joke. It was fucking crazy. So, I think Gondra understands, at least from what I heard in his interviews, he kind of understands the importance of being a part of this card and all the eyes that it brings. So, I
So
don't
he
know,
better
man.
either lay an ass whooping or make it look really, really good.
Yeah, this is the card that I don't care how important your fight is, because we did mention it. Not every fight on this card is a fucking barn burner, but everyone on this card understands the amount of eyes that will be on this particular event as a whole, and the opportunity that gives them to put on a performance to make people notice. This is a great example of that. I feel like if Gondra comes out here and does good work, not that Zach Reese is a household name or a world breaker or anything yet, but on this card, the way that this is set up, Gondra could make himself known.
I'm here for it.
I, I'm I'm not opposed to it at all. I have a feeling that that might be what we see, but we'll find out. Um, I've said it a million times, and I promise I'll say it a million more. Fuck Fareed Basharat. Like, I don't like either one of the Basharat brothers. Fareed bothers me probably more than his brother does, because he's still undefeated with a very, very padded record, getting him to that 15-0. John Garza showed up yesterday on the scale, ready to make his debut like a fucking boss. I believe this gentleman had 4 days' notice, showed up, made weight, ready to go, looked good at weight.
He was ready to fight yesterday.
Yeah, I genuinely hope he shows up this afternoon and beats the shit out of Basharat and takes all his fucking thunder. Make your debut like a badass, take everything that fucking clown's got and run with it. Because, again, he's another one. If you look at his fucking resume, Garza didn't stumble his way to the UFC. They were going to call him sooner or later anyway. So, taking it on a short notice like this, showing up on weight like a fucking boss, you got a chance to take a dude who doesn't deserve it but has some recognition to his name. You do the damn thing, you could become the man this afternoon for fucking sure.
Oh yeah. This next one I'm definitely looking forward to, just by the reaction that we had off of the weight scales. Pinas and Almeida.
This was one of the first ones that genuinely caught me off guard for a good reason, for a change. Damian Pinas came out, stepped on the scale, ready to fucking go, made weight, looked like a boss. And then some clean shaven, clean cut, ripped looking motherfucker came walking out from the side, and I genuinely did not know who the fuck it was. I thought that it was somebody from later in the card that was coming up to weigh in, because Almeida was playing the fucking Basharat game back in the sauna. No, no, no. That's Cesar Almeida. That man showed up looking like he has spent the last 6 months eating, sleeping, and breathing in the gym. He is in better shape than he has been at any point in his fucking career and looks 100 fucking percent focused, ready to come in and do some damn work. And based off of the hype that Pinas is coming into this fight with, even fucking Slowbake on the show Thursday was talking about how excited he is to see Pinas fight this weekend. Then we got those weigh-ins yesterday, and you saw fucking Almeida come in shredded as shit, not sucked in at all, on fucking weight, ready to go when they fucking, when his position was in the lineup to weigh in. I got nothing against Pinas. I'm not 100% sold on him yet. I don't think that there's any denying that he's got some potential. But when you see a gentleman show up like Cesar Almeida showed up to weigh-ins yesterday, I genuinely said out loud while we were watching this makes me second guess this fight. Cesar Almeida is a problem to begin with under normal conditions. This focused fucking Dorito chip shaped rock hard version of Cesar Almeida that's showing up tomorrow or today rather, I'm gonna have a hard time doubting. Peñas doesn't have a lot of 3-round experience. Almeida doesn't look like he wants to give him any more. I don't know that this fight's going to judges if Almeida's fucking new discipline that he seemed to show up with has anything to say about it. I got nothing against Pinas. Like I said, I'm just not sold on him yet because I haven't seen enough from him yet. But after what I have seen from Cesar Almeida and then seeing him on the fucking scale yesterday, this one could get very interesting. This could as well be another potential 15-minute fucking car crash on this card. And I'm absolutely here for that. I will say this. I'm not always the biggest fan of weigh-in shenanigans and antics. Some folks fuck around a little bit and it's funny, and then you got douchebags like Henry Cejudo who brings a trash bag full of pillows with his opponent's face on it to a weigh-in and kicks him into the crowd to look tough, or John What's-His-Dick from BKFC who brings cannolis to the weigh-in because, hey, he's Italian, and then he smashes them in the fucking guy's face because he's an asshole. Like, there's a difference between people who show up and fuck around or wear like a goofy mask or something to a weigh-in and fuckheads who can't be professionals in a professional setting. It teetered for a minute there. I was genuinely concerned when we got that ceremonial weigh-in yesterday, but luckily Song Wang dialed it back and kept it on the okay side. She did her Joker bit. She always does. That's her name, the Joker, so she always wears the face paint. But she came out yesterday knowing who her opponent is with 2 boxes of fake eyelashes to the ceremonial weigh-ins and then gave them to Tracy when they shook hands and faced off. So
kind of didn't give her a choice.
yeah, kind of pushed them into her hands as she was going to shake hands, really kind of stuffed them in her hands. So yeah, I will say this. I'm a little split on this fight. I'm not going to lie. I stopped following Song Wang on Instagram because she has spent the last 6 months at the very least in a thirsty and pathetic manner doing all kinds of weird fucking call-outs to try and get Tracy Cortez to accept this fight. Like, it got embarrassing to watch for her, in my opinion. And to the extent that, like I said, I unfollowed her. I couldn't fucking deal with it. It was too much. It was thirsty, it was desperate, and it didn't look good. And I will give her this. It got her the fucking fight, but based on where Tracy is in her career right now, I don't think it's going to do for her what she thinks it's going to do for her, because not even on paper, just looking at the two of their resumes, it very much leans towards the fact that Tracy is on her way out of combat sports and Song Wang is on her way to relevancy in the UFC here. Tracy has never done well against big punchers. The fact that Song Wang was able to do the eyelash bit because a puncher like Rose Namajunas knocked that shit off of her face in a goddamn fight is a great example to how strongly stylistically matched this is in Song Wang's favor here. So you add the fact that Tracy's kind of on the tail end. She's got problems going on outside of the cage that are, massively stealing headlines as well. And then you got a gal like Song Wang who's only shown to have any problem when somebody takes her to the ground, which Tracy is not good enough at to really cause a problem here, you would think. And I do believe that the Joker's going to get the W, but I don't think it's going to be as big and as great or as impactful as she seems to think it's going to be.
I just want to know what the over under is on whether or not Cortez is going to wear makeup to the ring.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Like for a girl who has had a fake eyelash punched off of her face during a fight that she shouldn't have been wearing to begin with, you would think that she would, learn from that very silly mistake and, act like a adult going forward. But she showed up to both the weigh-ins and the ceremonial weigh-ins in makeup. I will say this: she showed up with less makeup on to the ceremonial weigh-ins than she wore to the actual weigh-ins, which several people in the audience there mentioned how fucking made up she was for the actual weigh-ins, which was a little odd. And I think she might have heard some of that and decided to dial it back a little bit for the ceremonial weigh-ins, but it doesn't seem that she has learned that much from the experience that Rose gave her. I don't think she's going to be so fucking dense as to keep wearing the fucking fake eyelashes into the fight, but I absolutely would not be surprised if she showed up to fight this evening with a full face of fucking makeup again, and Song Wang is going to ruin it. So
It would laugh. It would make me laugh my ass off if she actually wore a pair of the fake eyelashes that she gave her.
there's a real possibility. So you never know. That being said, there's a reason I say it's not just that you make weight, but when and how you make weight. This one is not so much about the when because both of these gentlemen showed up in their point in line like they were fucking supposed to, one right after the other, and both of them did make weight.
Oh yes.
But the
Ooh.
difference here was night and fucking day. This is another great example of why I say it's almost always better to wait and watch weigh-ins before you make your picks than it is to just make them looking at a piece of paper based on records, resumes, and your particular preference. Um,
Because this particular one, if I would have done that, would have went the exact opposite way that I picked.
um, I will say this: Luke Riley is an undefeated fighter coming in with a lot of hype around him. But if you watched those fucking weigh-ins yesterday, KK3 showed up looking like an absolute fucking stud, not the least bit sucked in, made weight on time like he's fucking supposed to. And then Luke Riley's little ass walked up onto that stage.
Look like a
His,
14-year-old boy.
yeah, he looked like a picture from a fucking Holocaust camp. Like, he looked like a malnourished child on that fucking
Very
scale.
much so.
Fully sucked in and had a little bit of that I suck too much water out of my body wobble to him. Not as bad as some other folks we'll talk about here in a minute, but he had a bit of that, oh, I need to drink a Gatorade wobble standing on the fucking scale. Um, I got nothing against Luke Riley personally, but I have not seen a goddamn thing from him that leads me to believe that he's going to be able to take Kai Kamaka. Uh, Kamaka is a genuinely well-rounded fighter, and he's a great example of when the UFC releases you and says you need to go get a little more experience somewhere. If you go and do that, like Kai Kamaka the third did, he went over to Bellator and over to PFL and kicked some ass and took some fucking names, and lo and behold, they brought him back. And he's looked like a fucking problem since he's come back. Showed up on the scale yesterday, looking fully fucking hydrated, ready to go. And then Luke Riley shows up, Mr. 13-0, coming out of Patty's camp, looking like a fucking skin wrapped skeleton.
Mr. 13.
I get that Riley's going to be the favorite coming in here because he's Patty's boy and he's undefeated, blah, 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 blah. I'll push my chips in the fucking Kamaka corner until he gives me a reason not to.
Yeah, Kamaka definitely got on that scale yesterday, looking and looked like he felt like $1,000,000 fucking bucks.
Yeah, you could see he was fucking feeling himself when he got off that fucking scale. So, yeah, I think it could be very interesting. I don't know that Riley has enough to show us to make this as interesting as he really needs to, but I'm here to find out.
This next one was like, I don't know, Gambrat
Yeah.
and Giannis. I So Gambrat to me uh, has a very punchable face.
Oh
He
yeah.
looks like the guy that like would get his ass kicked for no reason just because he is him.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
I've been very
Giannis.
open about how I disliked Cody Garbrandt, even while he was holding the fucking belt, even when he was dominating Dominic Cruz, which was ridiculous to fucking watch unto itself. Cody has always been that fuck you kind of dude. Like he's the dude you look at and you're like, shut up. Don't even
But
before you even say anything, just shut up. Like,
unfortunately, the way that Giannis looked on the scales yesterday, holy shit, that was a scarecrow with no thought in his head.
there was a very I almost don't want to say it, but I kind of have to because of how fucking relevant it was. Adrian Yanez looked for real, no acting on the scale yesterday, the way that Josh Hokett pretends to act when he steps on the scale. Like Adrian wasn't acting. Adrian genuinely looked scared. Like he would barely look Cody in the eyes when they did their face off. He was kind of staring off at the ground, looking around. He wouldn't really fucking look at the photographers. Like Adrian looks like he was mentally beat before they even step into this fucking cage. And I don't like Cody Garbrandt, but watching the weigh-ins and then watching the ceremonials with them actually facing off, Adrian genuinely looked scared. Like, I hope that I'm wrong. I hope that this is all just, him going through the motions and he's going to fucking hype himself up in the locker room before he walks out and show up and do work because Cody is absolutely touchable. Cody Cannon has been knocked out by several people. So there is 100% the possibility that if Adrian eats his fucking Wheaties, does a couple of woosahs, and remembers who the fuck he is, he can go out there and put Cody Garbrandt to fucking sleep and steal what thunder he might still have left. But if he shows up this afternoon the way that he showed up to those fucking ceremonial weigh-ins yesterday, I don't think we're
There's no
going to see a
chance.
second round. I genuinely don't think we'll see round two. He looked mentally defeated before they ever even climbed in the cage. Genuinely.
Garbrandt, if he looks like that coming into the cage, Garbrandt will know it within the first minute
Oh,
of
Cody
him.
will smell that while Bruce is still announcing their fucking names, dude. It was that fucking obvious at the fucking face-off.
And
So.
you already know, like the way Garbrandt acts, just by his interactions, you can tell that he's a bully outside of the fucking
Yes,
UFC.
absolutely.
I hope Yanez is able to snap in somehow
That's I
because
said. I
that
hope
was
he can
not a good look.
woosah in the locker room or whatever the fuck he needs to do. Like, look in the mirror and slap yourself a couple times. Something, man. Like, remember who the fuck you are. Because if you can't, Cody Garbrandt's going to get you kicked out of the fucking UFC with a highlight reel this afternoon.
Undeservingly, but yeah.
Yeah, no, and he shouldn't be able to. He really shouldn't. Adrian Yanez is a well-rounded enough fighter. He should be able to come in and basically have his fucking way with the shell of Cody Garbrandt with the stupid fucking crooked eye tattoo that we're going to see this afternoon. But if he can't remember who the fuck he is, he's going to give this douchebag a highlight reel. I'm calling it now. Speaking of douchebags, though, UFC wasn't content with having just one rapist on the card. They had to have a confirmed and an alleged. So Rapel Stevenson is getting the toss-up of all fucking toss-ups in his UFC debut this afternoon. And to the surprise of virtually no one, his entire fucking weigh-in and ceremonial process was completely overshadowed by the even bigger cokehead that was walking out behind him in John Jones, who quite literally took the opportunity both at the weigh-ins, at the ceremonials rather, and backstage to make as much of this event about himself as he fucking could. Go watch the UFC's broadcast of some of that shit. It was fucking disgusting. That being said, Ellison is a dented fucking can. Rapel Stevenson really only has the shitty takedowns and ground and pound to do him any favors here, but that's also something that Elisha has been subject and lost to as well. So this is quite literally a catered fucking match to try and get Stevenson in the good favor of the people who don't know that he had rape charges brought against him and dropped because of evidence due to the circumstances of the laws of that particular state. Look up the Gable Stevenson loophole if you don't know what I'm talking about. I think he's going to get a big finish against a dude who's been big finished and is brought in to be big finished here. And he can go fuck himself all the way back to flunking out of the WWE or the NFL or any of the other organizations that don't want anything to do with this fucking rapist. That being said, though, my favorite fight on this whole goddamn card comes right after that shit show does. Bobby Knuckles showed up yesterday looking like a fucking $1,000,000. Robert
like a
Whitaker
solid
making
fucking
his
tank.
fucking light heavyweight debut look like a fucking boss. In shape, fucking ready to rock. Bobby Knuckles' power was a problem at middleweight. Bobby Knuckles' power light heavyweight is going to be fucking crazy. And I said it yesterday, Nikita Krylov is an always down motherfucker. He is a very well-rounded fighter. Showed up right behind Whitaker, made weight, no fucking issues. 100% fucking sportsman. Never count him out. But a motivated Bobby Knuckles is a problem for anybody. Making his debut at 205, up a class with more fucking power behind him. It could be very, very fun. Now, there is every chance here that Nikita Krylov is going to do to Robert Whitaker what Jan Blachowicz did to half a dozen different middleweights when they tried to move up to light heavyweight. But boy, I would be real fucking surprised. They are real similar size. They both have a similar set of skills. Even though Whitaker's definitely got the better striking, they both have good fucking ground games. They both have good movements. They both have gas tanks. This could be, in my opinion, the potential fight of the night. Their styles clash fucking perfectly. Neither one of them takes a step backwards. Both of them can go to the ground if it needs to and are very competent defensively and offensively. This fight, to me, has everything it needs to be the most exciting fight on this fucking card.
Very much so. Yeah, Whitaker coming out looked like I said, just like a fucking tank, bro.
He looks fucking ready for light heavyweight, man. He really does. And
You look at Robert Whitaker and you look at Krylov, and it looks like a lightweight fighting a heavyweight.
yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because Bobby's the one that's going up, but look significantly bigger. Yeah, it could be a real fun fucking fight this afternoon, I think. Then we've got the curtain jerker for the prelims. Bobby Green versus T-Rex Terrence McKinney. I'm not gonna fucking bullshit here. I got nothing particularly against Bobby Green, but I'm not a fan. Not of his fighting style, not of his fucking personality. I will give him absolute fucking credit that he has made a point in recent years to start taking his fucking fight winnings and putting it back into his fucking community to try and make sure where he lives stays a good place to live. Absolute tip of the fucking cap for that. Then he starts talking. Then he starts showing you off his hundreds of thousands of dollars in jewelry and talking about how much better it makes him than you. And he starts talking about how you're not supposed to fight your friends in the fight business and blah, 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 and how T-Rex is a punk because they were supposed to be boys and they were hanging out before the fights got offered. Bitch, have you not seen how much everyone hates Marab and Aljo for playing that exact fucking card for the last 5 goddamn years? Ain't nobody give a fuck who your friends are. You are a professional fighter. If you are friends with other professional fighters and you're in the same fucking weight class at some point, you're gonna have to fucking fight them if you want to actually be the best.
Yeah.
There's a fucking saying that applies to fighting more so, or should apply to fighting more than it seems to actually do. Leave your feelings at the fucking door. You're professional fist fighters. You can be friends when it's all said and done. But for 15 minutes, you're locked in a fucking box with each other and you don't get out until the time runs out or one of you knocks the other one the fuck out. Man the fuck up, grab your balls, get in there, and give us a fucking fight. The problem with that is that Terrence McKinney seems to have spent his fight week in Las Vegas doing anything but preparing for this fucking fight, because he was all fucking over with all of his sponsors. At one point, he was out with his family doing the thing, and I get it. Your family's in Vegas with you. Hang out. But you're there for a fucking reason. Remember why you're in Las Vegas, T-Rex, because he showed up on that scale looking like a fucking chocolate skeleton yesterday. He did not look good on the fucking scale. Bobby looked a little sucked in, but Bobby always does. Bobby's a little thicker and has to cut a little more. Terrence showed up looking absolutely terrible to the weigh-ins and then wore sunglasses to the ceremonial so you couldn't see how sucked in his fucking face was. I love Terrence McKinney, man. I think he's a fun fighter to watch. He's absolutely a with your shielder on it type of motherfucker. But this is one of those situations where you could have made sure it was with and not on, and you didn't. You chose, for whatever reason, to go do all the sponsor show-ups, to go fucking hang out with your family and play around when you're there for a fight. And those results, I feel, are going to show this afternoon when he steps in with Bobby Green. Very much like the Cody Garbrandt situation, I feel like we are going to end up here with Bobby Green getting a fucking highlight reel off Terrence McKinney that he shouldn't be getting. It should absolutely be the other way around, but it feels like T-Rex didn't take this fucking fight seriously for whatever reason. I'm never mad when I'm wrong about shit like that, but based on what we've seen and what we've heard directly from the source, I'd be very surprised if Bobby doesn't drop T-Rex in the first here.
Yeah. Again,
Not what I
I'm gonna
want
be
to happen,
honest.
obviously, but
I'm gonna be honest. I gave him at least the first round to get acclimated to T-Rex's punches or what might be coming at him, but I've got him dropping him in the second round.
yeah, I'll be genuinely surprised. I'll put it that way. I will be genuinely surprised if we see judges in the Green versus McKinney fights. And I don't think it's going to go well for T-Rex. And I like Terrence, but it feels like he fucked this one up. Like he threw this one out the window and just didn't take it seriously enough. I could be 100% wrong. We could show up and T-Rex could KO Bobby in 48 seconds, and I'll eat my fucking words and admit wholeheartedly that I fucked up. But history seems to be on my side in situations like this. We'll see, though. We will see. I want to be more excited about this fight. I really do. I think Raw Dog is getting absolutely fucking slept on by the vast majority of fight fans and journalists here. I agreed that Lonnie Kavanaugh is a potentially great fighter. Dude seems pretty fucking destined to be up at the top. But I think they might have rushed him a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Royval might not be where he was a couple of years ago, but he's not far off. The only fights that he's lost were to the guys who are at the goddamn top. The fucking champion, the number 1 contender, and the number 2 contender. And he gave all of them a run for their goddamn money. I get that they want to rush Lonnie up to the fucking top here, but at the same time, baby, you can't count out the Raw Dog ever. Ever. And he showed up yesterday looking like $1,000,000 fucking, ready to fucking go, has been doing all the fucking training, and you can follow his social to see he's been putting the fucking work in. I think Kavanaugh's in for a surprise, man. I realize that Royval, like I said, isn't where he was a couple of years ago, up in that title fucking contention at the moment, but I don't think he's far off either, and I think he's definitely being overlooked by Kavanaugh fans.
Yeah, definitely. He, like you said, he looked like $1,000,000 getting on the scale, and I don't know, it swayed my vote.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be a good match either way. I think if Kavanaugh gets him, he deserves to. I'll put it that way. I think
Definitely,
Royval,
because
I think
he didn't.
Royval looks.
It wasn't like Kavanaugh looked bad.
No, not at all. He didn't show up looking nearly as bad as his other fucking countrymen.
But Royval, holy shit, bro. He looked ready to do business yesterday.
Yeah, and Royval has been talking about it in interviews all week. He understands that he's not the UFC's favorite anymore, and that they're giving him matchups like this to try and make Lonnie's name off of Royval and get Royval out the door. And he says, "I'm not going without a fucking fight." So that's a man that understands his position, understands how important this particular match is, and showed up ready for it. That's the
Do
most
you think
dangerous part.
Royval could make Do you think Royval could make another run,
I don't know. I think
or does he have it in him?
he's got it in him, but he's also got a lot of fucking highway miles. Like I said, he's already fought the fucking who's who and put on some wars. Him and
Right.
Josh Van literally 2 nights ago just won Fighter Magazine's Fight of the fucking Year for their crazy fucking scrap. So Royval has got it in him. The problem is he's got a lot of fucking highway miles on him for a young guy as well. Um, I don't think his skill set is the problem. I think his time in the sport is starting to get to him. I think he's hitting that point where fighters start to plateau. And it's
Right.
not that he couldn't still win the belt against the right matchup, but I think at this point he's starting to come up against the Lonnie Kavanaughs, who are the younger guys still on their upward trajectory, whereas he's starting to career plateau a little bit here. And to be fair, he's career plateauing in the top 5 of the fucking UFC, having put on a fight of the year performance against the champion. Not a
Yeah.
bad place to fucking plateau. A lot higher than some people will ever even see. But at that same time, he's about where he's going to be able to get to, in my opinion, career wise. Whereas Kavanaugh's still on that way up. So they're absolutely trying to use Kavanaugh to kind of push Royval further down the mountain a little bit and kind of steal some of the thunder, get himself up into that potential title conversation as well. I don't think Lonnie's ready for that. I don't think Royval's ready to be pushed out the fucking door yet. And I don't think Kavanaugh is ready to get into that top level of competition yet. And I kind of feel like, based on where we're at and what we saw yesterday, that's what we might see this afternoon.
I'm here for it. Either way it goes, really. But yeah, I kind of feel like Royval has the upper hand a little bit.
Absolutely. That being said, People's Co-Main Event, Corey Sandhagen and Mario Batista. I'm very torn about this one. Sandhagen, much like Royval, they were cutting weight together. The videos of the two of them sitting in fucking sweatsuits with fucking towels on their foreheads, giving each other the thumbs up to make sure that they're both still okay. I fucking love seeing those dudes train together because they're both consummate fucking professionals, and you can tell they take this shit seriously and they're doing it right. Corey showed up yesterday on weight, looking like $1,000,000, ready to fucking go. Mario showed up yesterday a little bit on the sucked in side. I'm not going to say he looked terrible. There were definitely people that showed up yesterday looking way more gaunt than he was, but you could see a lot more of his cheekbones and his fucking ribs than you normally could. He was a little dried out. To be fair, Mario's not generally the most high output kind of fighter, so that won't really have the most impact on him. But yeah, we'll see when we get into the actual cage itself here. I think Corey's got a lot to prove and he understands it. So he's just got to keep Batista off of him.
Hopefully.
That brings us to the co-main event. BSD versus Patty Pimblett. I gotta say, Patty didn't look terrible, much like Batista, but he also definitely looked a little sucked in. BSD, again, showed up, did not look the least bit sucked in. I'm very curious how this fight's going to go. They both looked fairly good. Patty did look a little drier, a little more gaunt than BSD, but this is an interesting stylistic matchup as well. So,
Very much so. And I don't know. I wonder if it'll stay on the feet.
yeah, it's going to be a fun one. But that brings us to the main event here. Both men, to be fair, showed up and made 170 pounds, but this again is one of those situations where just making weight is not the whole fucking story, because Max Holloway showed up at 170 pounds and still had fucking abs and looked ready to fucking go. Conor McGregor showed up at 170 and a half and was wobbling on the scale and shaking when he was trying to hold his arms tight for the fucking pictures. Conor looked rough at 170. Like, I showed several people who are both familiar and not familiar with fighting, and all of them agreed he looked rough, making weight at 170 pounds. Add that to 5 years outside the fucking cage, and I stand by my prediction here. If Conor can't catch Max in the first round, this is going to be bad for him. And if Max can do what Max seems like he can do, he could be ending Conor McGregor's career this afternoon, at least in terms of the superstardom.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than I think Max is I think Max has got it. As much as publicity as McGregor brings, to be honest, I don't even think he deserves this fight, but
yeah, no,
I'm not,
I
I'm not
agree,
the one that makes a fight.
Yeah, unfortunately, the UFC doesn't listen to my matchmaking suggestions. So.
Right.
but
ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, it is time.
We are right about there. Prelims are getting ready to kick off, so we're going to call that all for this particular episode. If you enjoy this type of breakdown, we do these before every numbered event / pay-per-view, I say in air quotes, an hour-ish before the fights start to lead you right into them. But we do regular I'm No Joe podcasts pretty much every Thursday night when there are fights to talk about, broadcast both youtube.com/@I'mNoJoe and twitch.tv/I'mNoJoe. You can catch us over on either one. We will see you there for the next one. Until then, it's time for UFC 329.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kicks were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening.
How do I say goodbye to what